Just a show or a show of commitment and unity. Elections for members of grassroots consultative organizations known as district councils were held on Sunday, December the 10th in the Hong Kong SAR. Voters cast their ballot in the 7th District Council ordinary elections for 88 seats in the District Council Geographical Constituency or DCGC and 176 seats in the District Committee Constituency or DCC out of a total of 399 candidates. These were the first elections after the relevant law was amended this past July to improve district governance. Now, the Hong Kong Special Administrative Government Chief Executive John Lee Ka-chiu said on Sunday that the district council elections is the final piece of jigsaw in fully implementing the principle of patriots governing Hong Kong. But if you read your usual sources of information, you will come across the same old tone that the opposition candidates and their voices were suppressed, leaving voters with little choice. So what exactly were these elections all about? Political power or serving the communities? How were the candidates vetted? Were there nominated candidates who were shut out of the race because of their different political views? Welcome to this special edition of The Point with me, Li Xin, coming to you from Beijing. I'm pleased to be joined from the Hong Kong SAR by Mr. Kam Man Fung, who ran and won in the Tuen district, Ms. Cristy Lo, Assistant Legal Manager at Skywise Group, who ran and lost in the race. We're also pleased to be joined from Hong Kong by Professor Lin Feng, Dean of the School of Law of the City University of Hong Kong, and by Edward Lehman, co-founder and managing partner of the strategic advisory services firm LehmanBush. Welcome to all of you to The Point. Let me go to Mr. Kam first. Congratulations for winning in the district council elections. Tell us a little bit about your feeling at this moment, and what do you think won the hearts of electors in your district to put you into that seat?
Yeah, thank you very much, Liu Xin, and thanks for having me here today. Of course, I'm very excited. Yesterday was a very tiring day because originally the election was from 8:30 in the morning to the 10:30 at the night, but unfortunately there was an accident about the server, so the election was extended to the midnight, so it's totally 15 hours and 30 minutes. It was tight, but after knowing the results of my supporters and of my friends, that we are all very excited and happy. And because I was a district councillor before, that's why this return for my district council. So it's really important because in the last 4 years, the district governance, we have a lot of problems. And I hope that after the new proposal about improving the governance of district level, we hope that the governance in district level will be improved, and all of the district councillor will focus on how to improving our own community.
Ms. Lo, tell us a bit about your sentiments at this moment, and why do you think voters chose your competitor instead of you for the seat of a district council member?
Thanks for the questions. Since I'm a newcomer in this district council elections, and for my competitors, they are the district councillors before, and they are running this campaign in this time. They have successful for the election, so maybe there is not many people know about me, so it may be one of my failure to these elections. But actually, I'm really thankful for my supporters and appreciate the volunteers for my words. It's a great experience to run the campaign. They really helped me to build this campaign. So maybe I think this is the key matters for that I'm one of the failures. But it is a great challenge for me in running this campaign, since as I just said before, I'm new. I try to do something totally different from other competitors. Like I try to promote the democracy, uphold the justice for the local citizens in my district, that Kwun Tong North. Maybe they just too little about me. So maybe I still need to have do much work, serve the communities, and maybe I have the chance in the next time. Thank you.
Well, let's take a look at the elections per se, because we talk about elections, but I'm sure a lot of people are not very clear exactly what these district councils are. For instance, as I said, Professor Ling, let me go to you. As I said in the leading, voters cast their ballot in this 7th ordinary election, district council ordinary elections, for 88 seats in the DCGC and 176 in the DCC elections. And there are 2 other groups which are not contested this time. They are the ex officio members, and there are 176 that are not elected this time. So yesterday we were talking about the 88 and 176. They were directly elected by electors or voters in the different districts. So Professor Ling, exactly what are people voting for? Who are these district council members?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Liu Xin, for inviting me to the program. To your question, the district councils in Hong Kong under the Basic Law are non-political parties, organizations, so they're not political. And their main functions are serve the local welfare or people's interests in different districts. So that's their all about.
Right. If you take a look at the basic law, and if you take a look at Article 97, actually there is very clear stipulation about exactly what district councils are. For instance, the basic law Article 97 says district organizations which are not organs of political power may be established in the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region to be consulted by the government of the region on district administration and other affairs. Edward, let me go to you. What is your understanding of the function of the district councils and the journey these organizations have been going through? Because in the past, especially in 2019, they were by and large contested as political organizations.
No, absolutely. I think you hit on the head with summarizing the law there, which is exactly right. I mean, these are supposed to be advisory roles and largely to help with very day-to-day things, making sure the garbage is picked up, making sure the bus lines are running, making sure that, like under COVID, that packages were distributed among the constituents in that particular district. And these were not meant to be political. And you're absolutely correct with regards to the contrast between the 2019 election, where there was about a 71% turnout, and this particular election, which is going to be a lower number turnout for sure, for a whole bunch of different reasons. And that was made largely political. As a result, the knock-on effect was the politics played into trying to act in these roles as advisors. Many of these folks that were elected to these positions were unable to or unwilling to complete their term. And so then there was a recalibration. And the other thing I just want to point out is that these elections have been going on in some way, shape, or form since 1982, since the British allowed it. It's expanded, it's contracted over the years, and it's expanded and contracted here as we see from 2019 to 2023. And there's a lot of, since we've got a 24-hour news cycle, a lot of folks are reading probably a lot more into this on the Patriots only sort of message than they are into this idea of trying to. The exact role, like you were saying, is that they have to be. These are advisors largely.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Kam, let me go back to you. How do you look at the emphasis by the SAR government, including the amended district council election law, which came into effect this past July, emphasizing that the district councils need to go back to its original stipulated function to serve as non-political consultative organizations instead of the power struggle arena it was made into?
Yes, I totally agree with this amendment because the district council originally was just an advisory board. We are focusing on the livelihood in the community. We give the opinion and comments, and for example, the transportation, the nursery facility, the medical support in the community, and that's our originally designed job. Unfortunately, after the different change of the system, it becomes a political platform for the opposing committee, opposing parties. They try to use this platform to do something that is anti-Chinese activities, and we totally disagree about this kind of performance. That's why we have the social movements that during 2019 that people they try just because they want to win more seats, and they have a lot of violence during the years. And we hope that the amendment and the improving design of the district council will help all the district council to go back and focusing on the community and not the political issues.
Professor Ling, what is your understanding of Mr. John Lee's remarks that this is the last piece of the jigsaw to improve patriots governing Hong Kong, or to put into place the principle of patriots governing Hong Kong? Why is that imperative, not just for the selection, for instance, of the SAR chief executive, but also for the district council members?
Okay, thank you. This is actually, if you look at the whole political reform or the restructuring of the electoral system in Hong Kong, and the main principle behind all the elections is to implement the principle that patriots govern Hong Kong. So the reason I think John Lee has said that is because we've reformed the CE election already, and then the legislative election. Now the last election is the district council election. So the principle, if you look at the candidate selection and to the election, it's very clear that those who are against the government, who are non-patriot, put it that way, and won't be qualified to stand even as candidates for the election.
So one of the focus in point is the vetting process that was put into place, that was introduced when the SAR government introduced the amendment bill to the district council elections. They introduced an eligibility reviewing committee, or in other words, a vetting committee, which comprises of 7 members, 3 from non-government sector and 4 from the government. And its job is to consider, upon the opinion of the Committee for Safeguarding National Security of Hong Kong, as to whether a nominated candidate can meet the requirement of being considered patriotic. Professor Lin, how do you look at the importance or the necessity of this step? Some people are saying they are discriminating against opposition candidates. What is your opinion of the necessity and function of such a vetting committee?
This, from my reading of the amendment, and this committee actually is very important in the sense that this committee actually will rule out those or vet the candidates to see whether they're patriots or not. And if they are, then they will be eligible and become candidates. Otherwise, they will won't be allowed to become candidates. So this is the actually most crucial element in the restructured electoral system.
Ms. Lo, Cristy Lo, how do you look at such a vetting committee? What kind of criteria, for instance, were you aware of that the vetting committee is working to decide, people like you or Mr. Kam, whether you are patriotic or not? And do you think it was important that only patriotic people should be allowed to run?
Yes, I think this entry requirement is quite important, especially if you are not the patriotics. How can you run the election, and how you serve the community to have a better to have a better community for Hong Kong. So I agree with the entry requirements. And for those, maybe the government should have a better control and maybe should have a better maybe the citizens, local citizens should have more participation. Let them know more about the entry requirements. We could have a better synergy effect for those who are trying to enter for the running the election in the future.
Ms. Lo, let me continue with you. When you were submitting your nomination, when you were running your campaign, were you clearly aware of the kind of criteria or standards about being a patriot?
Yes, I know it quite clearly, but maybe there are some value points what we need to know more about it. Especially there is quite a lot of documentation or paperwork we need to read. We need to fulfill the requirements. Actually, when I run in this campaign, quite a lot of people ask me, how can you get the entry requirement? How can you pass the entry requirement? Actually, I'm really thanks to those supporters and my volunteers. Actually, I have asked the friends to help me to ask the communities to help me to get the voting rights. So I think it is a requirements for those people to run the election. And once they are being elected, they can have a better heart to serve the community.
Let me go to Mr. Kam for your observation, because we are seeing in some reports from, for instance, Al Jazeera, which says under the revised electoral system announced in May, just 88 out of the 470 seats will be directly elected. That obviously is untrue. It says candidates must be approved by government-appointed committees, and then more than 70% of the candidates for directly elected seats are themselves members of the vetting committees. Mr. Kam, according to your understanding, is that statement accurate?
I don't really think so. Of course, we call it the three committees. Actually, they are the flight climb committees, the fire safety committee, and also the area committees. We call them the three committees. They are those people who are familiar with the community issue. Maybe they are the representative of NGOs in the local community. They are long-serving people who know very well to the communities. Also, they are maybe the school representatives from the community. And they help us to nominate those people that they think who are suitable for the community service in the district council. That's the first thing. And of course, we need people from they use different channels to enter the district council, because every channel they are representing different people. For example, you have mentioned that those 88 people, they are from the geographical constituency. They are directly elected by the voters in the community. But also, we have those people from the district committees constituency. They are elected by those people really familiar with the district council, which means we have district councillor with different expertise, and they have different kind of experience, which will enrich the opinions and ideas who will give to the government, which will help the government to give a better governance in the community. This is the most important restructure and the reason that we need to give in the future district governance.
Another very notable point that was highlighted, the Democratic Party, Hong Kong's biggest opposition party, failed to secure nominations for any of its candidates, while centrists and even pro-establishment moderates have complained of being shut out by the new rules. Mr. Lehman, let me go to you, because from my understanding and from my investigation, actually none of the nominated candidates were screened out in the vetting process because of their different political views. They simply approved if the Security Committee has approved the profile of a certain nomination. So can we use the fact that none of the Democratic Party members ran in the election or got nominated in the election to say that the election were discriminating against them because of their political views?
There are publications that tend to focus on these very vague generalities. I think you hit it on the head, which is saying that, have each of these candidates gone through the vetting process? Did they make it through the vetting process? The other thing that to keep in mind, and again, as a Westerner who's been living in China for a long time, is that what they've done here is it's kind of a consensus situation with this with the three committees that are participating with selecting candidates, and that's not terribly unusual in Asia. It's not been unusual in the past. One has to be able to meet the criteria. There's been all sorts of criticism in the West and with the Electoral College, with what it takes to be on the 50 states for the ballots, and what kind of criteria it takes to get on in anywhere. So I don't think that, I think the Western media has been a little bit fast and loose with regards to who is participating. I think that a lot of folks did not participate because the rules had changed. I think that, and then they turn around and they explain that they were excluded from the system. I think of many that did not participate in the system.
Professor Lin, what is your understanding of the possible reasons why none of the biggest opposition party candidates made it to the race? I mean, they didn't participate because you have thresholds, obviously. You need to be nominated and you need to have the support of, for instance, at least 50 electors or up to 100 electors for the DCGC elections. Professor Lin. Okay, obviously, let me go to Mr. Kam, maybe for your understanding. What have been the threshold for you to be nominated and qualified as a candidate?
Yeah, actually, as also I'm a chairman of the fire safety committee in my community. Actually, we have to meet and to know different nominator by ourselves. Even the government, they won't give us their contact rate. We have to know them, we have to participate in the community and gain their trust and let them have more confidence to us so that they will nominate us to the election and they think we are suitable and eligible for as a district councillor. So it's a long-term service. It's not just because I am from what party and then they will give us the nomination. This is not true. We have to work in the community and gain their trust and gain their confidence to us.
Do you think, though, could the vetting process, which is something new because of the amendment to the law this past July, could the vetting process have deterred some moderate opposition candidates from participating, Mr. Kam?
Yes. If they are not working in the community, if they just have some, okay, I have some political point of view, and please support me as the district councillor in the future, I don't think that those committee member from the vetting committee, they will give the nomination easily. They need to know why I should give you the nomination. It's not just because you are maybe a political star, maybe you are from such a political party. As from the original, DC, District Council, is advisory board for the community, for the livelihood in the local community. That's why they should show their ability, their heart to the community, and your ability to serve the community. Then you can get the nomination.
Ms. Law, do you think the voters or the electors were supportive of the efforts to return the district council back to its original function, which are non-political consultative organization? In the process of your campaigning, in the process of casting the ballot, do you think the voters fully understood and identified with this purpose?
I think the voters, because they are some of the voters, they try to understand every candidate for their advertisements or their propaganda. If those candidates have served the community, just like my competitors, they have served the communities in a long time. citizens or the voters may know this one, but for me, maybe I'm new. They didn't know much information about me, so maybe they have a lack of information in here. So maybe I think for the DC, the advisory board for this elections, people should not will select the people who will serve their community. Yeah, they may have a bright eyes for selections.
Yeah, Professor Lin, how do you? What is your observation of the support of the voters this time? Do you think they have come on board with the change of the function, return to its original function of the district councils? And what do you think are some of the biggest or the biggest reason behind the relatively low turnout this time?
The low turnout, I think there are a couple of reasons. One is that now if you look at the numbers of candidates for each district is smaller than before. And therefore, the familiarity of the candidates to the voters are different. And the other reason is political mobilization. And because now the reformed or restructured electoral system is going back to the non-political consultative role. Whereas if you compare with 2019, and I think the main reason for the high voting or rates is because political mobilization behind it. So I think those could be the two major reasons. And a third one is related to the second one, is the people previously supporting the pan-Democrats. Now, when they don't see their candidates there, they will say, oh, maybe we are not going to vote.
Mr. Lehman, do you agree with these reasons behind the turnover? And for the people who identify with the so-called pro-Democrats, how long will it take for them to understand or to support the new elections after the improvements?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it all boils down to what Tip O'Neill said: is all politics is local. I understand that this is governed by, the national security law, Article 35. I understand that everything has to be safe, elections have to be safe. But I think that the voters and the recipients of the services that are going to be done by the elected officials is going to largely come down to whether their garbage is picked up or the lights are left on. They want those local advisory and those local functions performed. If they're getting performed, then they're happy. If they're not getting performed, they're not happy. I think that the 2019 election became this huge distraction about everything being political rather than service to the people and service to the communities to which they serve. And so there was a lot of time spent in debate about a bunch of stuff that wasn't serving that local community.
Right.
So I think eventually they'll come around.
Yeah, we have to leave it there. I ran out of time, but many thanks to Mr. Kam Man Fung, Ms. Cristy Lo, Professor Lin Feng, and Edward Lehman for sharing with us your emotions and insights. And with that, we come to the end of this special edition of The Point with me, Liu Xin. Thank you for joining. As usual, you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter using the handle Liu Xin in Beijing. On behalf of the whole team, thank you for watching. You've got the point.